Hello, and welcome back to the No Excuses podcast. My name's Anne, and I live in Worcestershire with my hubby and our dog, who's behind me, so you might hear him. This is episode 20 already. How did we get here so quickly? And I've been missing for a couple of weeks, a bit longer than I usually leave between podcasts, but I'll explain why towards the end. Nothing wrong, it's just that had various things going on. But I'm here today, and this is the second time of recording, because I recorded about 3 or 4 hours ago, and when I put my video, it looks okay on the phone screen, but when I transferred everything over to the laptop, the cardigan I'm wearing just was whited out. So it's a lot later now. The sun's quite low in the sky at the front, so I'm hoping that this is going to make a difference. I do look a lot pinker because that's what colour the cardigan is than I did earlier, so I'm hoping this is going to work. And do you know what? If it doesn't, it's coming out anyway. That's how unprofessional I am. I mean, the last version was obviously just spot on. It was brilliant. I've never done such a good podcast before. I'm such a fibber. Anyway, let's get on with the introduction, and then we can, I'll look at my notes because I've made some for a change, and we'll, toddle on through. Everything I talk about will be down below, and also I just want a quick reminder of the 2 make-alongs that we are running at the moment in the podcast. The first one is the summer portion of the seasonal mal, which started in July and ends in September. For that, I want you to enter anything that is handmade. It doesn't have to be knitting or sewing. Anything handmade. It can be a pin cushion. You know what I mean? It can be anything that's related to the summer, and that might mean it's made out of plant-based fibre, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, it could even be winter, because we're not going to get as far as winter. But if it applies to you, whatever season you're in, please enter. If you can relate it back to summer, holidays, being cool, summer colours, I don't need convincing. I just want people to join in. And the second one is the stash or shelf mal, which ends in the end of August, I think. And with that, it's asking you to use either and stash that you've had a while, or a pattern that you've had a while. So I'm thinking mainly that would probably refer back to sewing, knitting, crochet or fibre. But if you're a woodworker and you've got a stash of wood, it might be that as well. But to my knowledge, I don't know if anybody's mentioned woodwork on here. No reason why they should, I suppose, but you know what I mean. If it fits, then please enter. And remember, if you're entering this and it qualifies for, if it's a shawl, it can go into the Across the Pond cowl with that RuthLovestoKnit and Little Monkeys and Me are running, and also the accessory mal. If it's a shawl or any other accessory, it can be entered into the accessory mal that Kellyanne from Yarn Tales by the Sea and Leslie from Not Quite Enough Yarn are knitting, amongst others. There are going to be others as well. And finally, I want to say about the mal, you can enter on Ravelry. If you don't use Ravelry, or you prefer to use Instagram, the hashtags are down below. And also, if you don't use either of those, and there's a lot of people that don't, email me. My email's down below. I'm going to see if I'm being a bit clever this time. Well, not clever, but I'm going to add my Instagram name or handle, whatever they call it, ID, at the bottom, as well as my email address, which I know I've put there before. But anything that helps you find what you're looking for is okay with me. I'll try and add it. If there's something I'm not putting on there that might help you, let me know. Okay. What am I wearing? Well, I'm hoping you can see this. The trouble is, I was going to get changed into a darker t-shirt, but looking at it now, it does look like there's a bit more contrast. This is a lovely lacy cardigan. Let me show you the bottom. There we go. It's that's more or less upright, lacy cardigan that I knitted in 2015. And I know that for certain without looking, because it's the year that I was quite poorly and I ended up leaving work, and the two are only semi-related. It was a bit of a coincidence that I was poorly before I left work, because I was working my way up to going on ill health grounds anyway. I'd applied to. My illness just hastened the process, luckily for me. It is knit in, I think it was called Wendy Supreme, but I'm not sure about that, but I'll put all the details below. I think it might be discontinued, but it's like a pink marley colour. You know how useless I am at showing things. Pink marley colour, and it's cotton and silk, and it's lovely, lovely to wear. Quite lightweight, very pretty, and it fits me. And it's actually a free pattern by Rico. And again, if it's still available, I will put all the details down below. I'm thinking of making another one because it's so free and easy. The only thing I did do, and I don't know whether it's in my Ravelry notes, is I cast on a few more stitches to make the sleeves slightly longer, because I prefer that. I'll notice that one's turning over anyway at the top, and I can't reach, so I'm not going to start fiddling with it. You'll be pleased to hear. Yeah, I'm thinking, I showed you those naturals by Stylecraft. I've got a pinky colour, and I've got the other one's called Celery, very pale green, and I think that might be really nice for a summer cardi. She says, and August starts on Monday. Although I think we're getting warmer weather later. Anyway. Yeah. So that's what I'm wearing today. And the next thing I want to say is a big thank you to anybody who bought a book off me. I did a little bit of a book pattern, knitting pattern book de-stash on Instagram, and the books went almost instantly. I've still got Knit to Flatter by Amy Herzog, if anybody's interested. But all the other books have gone, and I want to say a big thank you to everybody who bought them. They've all been posted. The last one was posted today, and the ones that went before have all been received okay. So I'm really pleased about that. Thank you for your support. Now, I sent one of the books to Pip in Wales, and she asked if she could send me some stitch markers for the podcast. And I was really excited because, I thought, thank you very much. I said, yes, please, thank you. And I'll show you those in a little while. And they're rather nice. Shall we get on to knitting? What I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the knitting that I've been doing. And then I'm going to clear my decks, come back to you and talk about my acquisitions, because I've got a fair few of them. I've seen some podcasters say, I'm not going to show you everything I bought because it upsets people. I'm certainly not doing it to boast. I feel a bit guilty. I've bought so much in the last few weeks, and I am putting an embargo on myself. Unless it's really essential, to finish something, then I've got to make do until Christmas. With the exception of my birthday, I think that's fair enough, don't you? I'll have my 42 things then. I'm running out of room, I am my own worst enemy. Anyway. Haven't done a lot of knitting because of the heat wave that we had. Say, any UK podcast that you watch would have been going on about the heat wave, because last week was very hot, very quickly. And of course, we're in quite a humid atmosphere in Britain. Betty in Australia emailed me, and we were having a chat, and she said, what were the temperatures? Because I said it was hot. And I said, it's 30 degrees. And she said, no, well, that made me smile, because it gets up to 40 here. But I'm thinking it might be either they're used to it and we're not. Or it might be that we are a bit stickier and they're in a drier atmosphere. But it was a bit of a shock, considering that I think we were in below average temperatures for the time of year leading up to that week. So we were all a bit, Bert was panting. I wasn't panting, but I didn't know what to do with myself. And I didn't want to pick my needles up because I just felt too hot to do anything or think. So I read a book. And I should say what the book was after I have a think about that. And yeah, and when you knit, when you're hot and sticky, it gets onto your knitting, doesn't it? You can't move. The yarn doesn't go through your hands very well. But I'll show you the progress I have got. First of all, is the Runway T, which it's not really a project bag. It's just a little bag with a handle on it so I can carry it around easy. And this is the Runway T by Stella Ackroyd. And guess what I've done? Do you know, I do this every week. Right, talk amongst yourselves. I've actually undone 3 rows on this, which is annoying because when I showed it on the first time that I actually 3 rows down, I haven't undone 3 complete rows. When I did the podcast earlier, the first run that sort of failed, I didn't lose any stitches, not to my knowledge anyway. So this is the Runway T by Stella Ackroyd, and I think the last time I showed you I got to the start of this one here. So this is Lithuanian linen, and I got it from Midwinter Yarns here in the UK. And this is putty. I always say, yeah, putty. This is O'Donnell, and this is bronze green. Gorgeous colours, and I think they go nicely together. A little bit more subtle in real life. Showed Penny last week. We were going to meet up with Maggie as well, but Maggie was poorly. Before told me we were going to meet up before it was me that was poorly, and this time it was Maggie. So hopefully we might get to meet next week perhaps, or the week after. So yeah, I've just started the next round, the next set of rows in the dark colour, and then I'm going to start reducing the height of the rows as I go on. So this is my evening knitting, so I've done hardly any of it. I don't know whether I showed it last time. It might have been the time before last. It will be winter before that's finished, you know. And then the other one is this jumper I'm knitting for my mum, cardigan, sorry. Now, as you know, this yarn was knitted up as the Philippa sweater just after Christmas, I think, and it didn't look at all good on me, or on Tom for that matter, not that, yeah, but he did model it for me. And I undid it immediately, and I did a swatch, and this is a different swatch, but the same. This is done on tighter needles than the original one I showed you, but it's the same colour sequence. Now the colours are, the brown one is Obsidian by Knits, yay. And these two, the lighter pink and the darker pink, are the same colour. That's Hydrangea Aspera or Aspera by Botanical Yarns. Now, I did this, and my mum, I showed you that pattern that my mum got for 30p from the charity shop. But for the life of me, I couldn't get the numbers right because it was a cabled rib, if you remember, and I ended up with too many stitches because I hadn't read the pattern any further than cast on. So I ended up with, I did about 7 inches, and I'd already reduced the number of stitches that it said in the pattern to what I thought should have matched my gauge swatch, and it was coming out at nearly 50 inches round, and I knew that would be far too baggy for Mum. So I found another pattern on Wool Warehouse. It's a simple V-neck 4-ply cardigan, slightly different stitch count, and it's got set-in sleeves, which is what I wanted, and I'm using that now. So, and I've done a different stripe sequence. Now I just want to show you. So what I thought, that one is quite dark, and also because I love all the colour, you see these little bits of colour in the lighter, in the BFL, and that's the mohair. I kept thinking all this was hidden, you know, because the mohair seemed to be the dominant colour, or the dark brown, because they're dark, and it made the whole thing look a bit dark. So what I've done is I've decided that instead of doing colour, I'm put in 2 rows of the brown in between each colour change. So I'm not actually having, apart from the rib and the front band and the cuffs, the dark brown will be between those. And then I decided that I would do 8 rows of the lighter pink and 6 rows of the mohair, and I think they look about the same by doing that. And that just shows you the different gauge you get, and some of it's to do with colour and density and how the brain interprets it, but I think that looks more even, do you, by having those 2 extra rows? And can't you see more of the lovely colour splodges on the light pink and even the darker pink on the mohair? And I think having that little bit of a border of dark brown, I do 2 rows of knit, so you've got the bobbles on that side, because it's knit flat. And I'm really pleased with it, and now it measures roughly what I need it to as well. So I'm cracking on with that. Well, cracking on. You know, I've undone it so many times. I'm surprised the yarn isn't falling apart. So I'm really pleased with that. So that's my only progress on knitting. Last time I spoke to you, I showed you I'd finished the Thundercloud Kisses shawl, but I still haven't blocked it. I didn't want to go outside last week, and I getting my head around trying to block the shawl. I'm going to leave it till it's a warmer day rather than a hotter day. It'll soon dry, so hopefully I'll show you that next time. And I should have had more progress on both of these as well. So not much knitting progress as per usual, but you're getting used to that, aren't you now? Saying, well, Anne, we only come to listen to you natter on about what you might be doing or what you're going to do, what you did and then you undid, but we've got no evidence that you ever did that. Well, sometimes I show it on Instagram. I'm not, you know, I'm really not afraid of admitting to all of my failures and some successes when they do happen. Excuse me, just have a gulp. Now, the other thing I'd fully intended to do was the Ravelry videos. I do have trouble saying Ravelry. My lisp gets in the way a bit. I'm tongue-tied. Yeah, the Ravelry videos were going to be done, at least one of them or 2 of them by now, but again the heat got in the way. Honestly, us Brits have used the heat for all sorts of excuses. Now I'm hoping to do those. It's Thursday night now. I'm hoping to get this video out to you on Friday morning, and then on Saturday and Sunday I want to do some sewing, but I also want to record at least one of the Ravelry videos for you, and I will put them out separately because I'm well aware that some people know what they're doing on Ravelry anyway, don't need to watch or don't want to watch somebody showing them a tutorial, although I don't know whether mine will be up to the standard of a tutorial, but I'll show you what I do. And B, that if you're somebody who reacts, that your eyes and your brain react to Ravelry with the new layout, I don't want to upset you. So I will put them up as separate videos. The only thing I wanted to ask is, would you prefer it if I did them in dark mode? Because Ravelry have got this thing now, they introduced it not long ago, where you can switch it so it's a dark background instead of a light, because I think a lot of the problems came from the fact it was such a pale, light, bright background that set a lot of migraines off and a lot of issues with people with sensitivity in that area. I'm quite happy to do it in dark mode. I use Herdwick, which is sort of just a bit grayer than the must keep my hand still. Sorry. Just a bit grayer than their standard setting. I don't know what it's called, their standard setting. But if you would like to watch, but you can't because it's too bright, but you'd be all right watching in dark mode, let me know and I'll do the videos in dark mode. But you need to tell me. If you're looking at watching this on Tuesday, then it won't be too late. But I could always do it again, you know, if the demand was there. I'm quite happy to. I'm thinking of doing 3 with a possible 4th. I'm going to do add to stash, creating and adding to a project, and the other one was going to be pattern searching, although I think a lot of you are quite happy to do pattern searching, but I can show you how to do saving your own searches as well. And I'll just go through them, and then it's up to you if you want to watch them or not. And the other thing I can do is about with the groups. I'm not completely au fait with the groups, because sometimes I find it hard to find somebody's group. You put the name into the search. Excuse me, that's pops made me go. Put the name into the search, it doesn't always come up, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But yeah, I'm happy to give anything a crack. So there we go. Right, what we're on 21 minutes. I'm going to show you next my journal. I have finally, after months of going about it, made a start. Do you remember I bought this the other week? This is the Leuchtturm 1917, and it is the sage green hardback book. And I got my pens out, and I thought, I looked at various things on bullet journaling to remind me. And what I did, I took a page, I'll show you an empty page first, and I divided it into 3. So I had July, August, September, October, November, December. Did lines down it, and I put a little calendar there on each one to say, what day each day was on, day of the week. And then I started numbering, and I ran out of room. So I ended up putting just the names, when I had birthdays or appointments and things. I haven't got any appointments. And then I noticed it bled through, because I bought these gel pens, and they're lovely gel pens, but they're a little bit runny, a bit too jelly. And they were coming through on the other side of the paper, and I was not happy. So I thought, I'm not going to get annoyed about this, because one reason why people don't start writing on new books sometimes is they don't want to spoil them. So I ended up spoiling my very first page. So I got my stickers out, and I've got loads of stickers, as you can see, a big variation. And I just stuck stickers all over. I stuck stickers all over them. Now, I don't know whether you can see, but you can see a little bit of writing there that's left. But I tried to cover up nearly everything. None of this makes sense. And then where it had gone over to the next page, you might be able to see, just here, there's a little box there where that's come through from the other side. I just got my stencils out, stuck a piece of paper on. Those are my Tricks stickers. And this one here is nice. I found a frame, I think in the antiquarian book, sticker book, and Ange from Yarn and Yarns had sent me this lovely Emma Ball sticker in one of my orders, and I stuck that in the frame, and then I just got one of my coloured pencils out and did a bit of colouring. So I am not, skilled at anything artistic. So I went on to do some drawing. So what I've done is I used a stencil to do a perfect ball, 3 sizes, and then I've done some knitting balls with a bit of washi tape. There's no relation to knitting at all, and this is the start of my knitting plans. And since knitting is the main craft I do, I'm going to do knitting with, I've got these tags at the bottom, bookmarks, and I'm going to do sewing and other stuff as the second one. So to give you an example, I've done number 1. I've already started it, but it's not yet on Ravelry, I don't think, and that's one of those that I'm going to show you, because then you'll be able to relate to what you've seen when I put it on as a project. The Runway T, I've done a little drawing, and I found similar colours, and what I haven't done on this page is put a colour I haven't put any photographs of the yarn that I've done on other ones. I'll show you. This is Mom's cardigan. So again, I did a little drawing, and I've got a photograph of the pattern that I'm using, and then a photograph of the yarn from when I took photographs to go into my stash. I'll show you one more. This is the Orchid Sweater by Marie Wallen, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to knit that in drop soft tweed in the Pebbles colourway. So I've done that for about a couple of more projects, and I will do a similar thing for sewing as well. I was going to put little samples of the yarn in, just a couple of inches, and I thought it's going to end up making it very bulky. And I keep a knitting Bible, which I'll show you one day, where I knit a little sample. I might put something like that in it, you see. Except, I mean, that's the right colour, but it's the wrong combination now. So I might undo that yet again and knit it up how I'm knitting the actual cardigan with the, just a very narrow border of brown between each colour change. And I'd maybe do half of it and then stick that in my knitting Bible with a few notes. I don't want to really double up on everything I'm doing, but in here it needs to be about what I'm doing at the moment and things I want to do in the future, because I think one of the difficulties is I get decision paralysis from the fact I've got too much choice. I've got a lot of patterns in my library. I get carried away, like a lot of people do. Oh, got to have that because it looks fantastic. And then, 2 years down the line, I haven't touched it. And I think, why did I buy it? I'm never going to make it. And to a certain extent, I do that with yarn as well, although I don't regret buying any of the yarn I've got, which is lucky because it's a much bigger purchase, isn't it? So I have finally started on my crafting journal, which is basically give me one giant list, and I'll let you know how I get on with that and whether that sort of develops into something else. Okay, I'm just going to slight crinkle. We're moving to acquisitions now, and the first thing I've got to show you is obviously July's Nature Club from come on, get out, you little devil. It's caught in a Rhapsodye works. Perhaps I should cut all that out. Well, you're used to me, aren't you? Thank goodness. Okay, I just watched Ange of Yarn and Yarns. I'm going to leave a comment on her video, but she does 12 days of Christmas cast on, which I would love to do. And she starts casting on each 12 days of Christmas type of thing. And she does a day's knitting on them, and then she's doing a 6-month review. And her number 2 cast on was a jumper. And she couldn't find it. She kept putting project, oh, it's in this one. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it's definitely in this one. And I was trying to eat my tomato soup for my tea. And I was desperately trying not to drip it down because I'm such a messy eater on my cardigan because I was never quiet. But she was making me giggle as I was eating. Like, oh! Anyway, she had to turn the camera off in the end and go and look for it. She found it. But yeah, I do love Angie's videos because she's just a normal, nice person. No airs or graces, and I like that sort of thing. Anyway, tangent alert that was. You're supposed to give alerts at the beginning before you do it, though you're not afterwards. This is the colour for July's Nature Club, and it is an emerald green. It's got royal blue and a little bit of yellow in it. Speckles, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's called Blossoming, and it's also got 2 little butterfly stitch markers. Now you normally get a little lettering from Emily, but she hasn't put one in this time. So sometimes in the school when the kids are off, I think everything gets a bit sort of, because she forgot to post some things when it was the kids' half term a little while ago. And also there was this, which is a little bracelet with a bee on it. and it's only a little bit of thong. It's got one of those sliding knot fastenings at the back, and it's by the Little Wish Bracelet Company, and it says on the front, "Close your eyes, make a wish, put this bracelet on your wrist. When the bracelet breaks in two, your wish may come true." Maybe it doesn't break in two. Say much for it, does it? Anyway, there's that. That's pretty. And there's also a flower wax melt, which looks very pretty. It doesn't smell too strong, actually, and it's got a little bit of glitter in it. Dee's Wax Melts Flower Bomb. Now, for the first time this year, because this is a mystery club that I sign up to, this is not my colour. Now, you know, a lot of them have been blues, grey blues, greeny greys, and they've been really, really nice. But I cannot wear this colour. It's emerald, it's a cool colour. I am a warm colour person, so I won't be keeping this. This will be in a giveaway or a yarn swap or whatever at some point. It's BFL, 100% BFL, superwash 4-ply, and I like the fact she's put on here, best before the 15th of the 7th, 2022. I think it's going to disappear in a year's time. Anyway, yeah, so this the whole package, and that, and the wax melt, well, I'll keep them all together, and they will be going into a prize bag or something in the future on the podcast. So thank you very much, Emily. I'm not upset about it at all. You know, it's going to happen, and I've done well to get to the 7th month without finding something I'm not so keen on. So yeah, that's really not a problem. Now, I'm going to stop because my phone may have started and stopped very, very quickly, but just to make sure that we don't get any big gaps. Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay, now let's get on to my other acquisitions, because I don't really count the Yarn Club, the Nature Club, because I've had it every month. But I've signed up to another club. Our Instagram just not doing me any good. It makes me much, much poorer, I'm afraid. I'm not complaining about that. I love buying things. I have a little bit of disposable income for the first time in my life since we retired, and yeah, like most people, I've been on holiday or anything. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that it's my way of entertaining myself. So I signed up to Vicky Brown's ombre collection. So every month I will get 100 grams, like 5 times 20 minis in ombre, in a set of ombre colours. And I will say again that these are they're not really my colours. Some of them are a bit cool for me, but it doesn't matter because they're going to go into probably a blanket or something, either for me or for somebody else. And I'm looking forward, because I'm assuming that this will move gently into other colours, you know, and we go through a sort of rainbow of colours. And I've seen examples of other months, and they've been beautiful. And they're mainly tonals with the odd speckle, she said, so I'm looking forward to those. And I will tell you, they were about £18 plus, I think, £1.50 postage. They came in a letterbox package, so that really cuts down on the postage. But yeah, I thought, because I signed up for a repeat, you get a slight discount on your order. But I thought it was very good value. Again, don't get any extras with that, that's fine. But of course, minis are always a bit more expensive anyway, because a little bit more work involved, or a lot more work involved with them. So yeah, look forward to seeing what the next month brings us. So I bought those, and then with the launch term, with me having problems with the gel pens going through, I wrote to the lovely people that Under the Rowing Trees, which is a lovely stationery website. And I've always wanted stationery. I've always loved stationery since I was a kid. And yes, I have got a box, a big box, not huge, but you know, from somewhere like Home Sense, those storage boxes, the cardboard ones they do, they're pretty. Got one of those in the wardrobe, full of notebooks, but we won't talk about that because I've gone and bought another one. I remember I bought one coral coloured one, peachy coloured one earlier in the year, the softback one, but I got other plans for that sort of. So this is a powder pink, very similar colour to mine. I've got to do it like that, otherwise the light bounce size of it. Some lines a day, and it's a 5-year diary. And it's Lush Term 1917 again. So it's 80 GSM paper. So it's decent, but not ultra thick. Like some, you can get some 160, which would be like twice as thick paper. And if you're artistic, you could do watercolours on it and that. But I'm not artistic. So I wrote to them and said, what pens can you recommend that won't bleed through? And I told them what I'd used. And they said, oh, we'll have a play, you know, it's a good excuse. And they recommended different pens. So I bought something different instead. But it was based on what they told me. So I bought that diary because I've been looking at them for some time. And then I bought this gorgeous set of pens. And they're chameleon pens, which means, apparently, that you can swap the tops and it gives you a different colour. It blends the colours together. I haven't tried them, you can see they're sealed in their packet, but I will have a go. But obviously, not on my journal. I'll have a practice elsewhere first, and I'll let you know how I get on. So I bought them, and I bought a matching pen loop, Lush Term pen loop, for my 5-year diary. Now my friend and Elaine and I, we text each other every day, and in fact, I text Michelle as well most days, but Elaine always tells me what she's been up to, and I say, you know, a few words about what I've been up to and what we've had for tea, because we're all obsessed with food. And I went and had a look at my text to make sure that I had back to the beginning of the year, and I have. So I'm going to start at January. I might make a start on that tomorrow if it's raining and I can't go and sit outside. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I think that's going to be really interesting to see, because I'll be 65 by the time I finish that. Not that I'm obsessed with my age, but I am. So it'll be really interesting to see that. And look at what I did on different days and stuff. And maybe I should even put the temperature down as well. You know, the top temperature for the day. I can look that up. So yeah. So that was that's my stationery acquisition. Now, I put on Instagram a photograph of a parcel that I'd received from Richard of Wackiwear. And this is a tailor's ham. See? Harris Tweed, Wackiwear. Now, I don't know if you watch Richard. If you are a sewer, you might have seen him on YouTube. I love Richard. He's ever such a nice man. And he's a very accomplished sewer. So I ordered a tailor's ham off him. And I said to him, I like pink, green, purples. So he had some of this. And he usually makes them with Harris Tweed. Calico on the back. They've got sawdust inside. Very lightweight, but very sturdy. And that's going to last me forever, isn't it? I was trying to press the facings on my gelato top, which I'm hoping to finish. I didn't talk about that with progress, actually. I'm hoping to finish that this weekend. If I do get it finished, I'll wear it on the next podcast. But I'm trying to press the facings, and it's very difficult to do it on a flat surface. And I am probably the world's worst ironer, because I just slam into things and, you know, and delicate fabric. So I think that's really going to help me. So a big thank you to Richard. Now, Richard makes these to order if anybody's interested. I'll leave links to his Etsy shop, but he doesn't normally have those on his Etsy shop. But Richard does a lovely podcast, mainly like sewing along, showing you, I mean, not literally minute by minute, but he'll tell you what he's been doing and give you tips about making things. He makes some beautiful bags. Got some gorgeous handmade bags on his in his shop on Etsy. He's also got some men's shirts, and he had a couple of ladies' dresses, I think. I don't know if they've been sold. But he also runs workshops for making shirts or tote bags or, you know, any level of sewing, really. And he's very good. Led an interesting life, and I love it when he dances. But if you watch Davina of Little Workroom Crafts, she mentioned Richard earlier today. That's when I watched her, because I've watched her late because we've had visitors. And they're going to do a podcast together. And I'd say, you know, I'd highly recommend watching the two of them together. It'll be like a pantomime, I tell you. Oh, no, she didn't. They're very entertaining as individuals. So it's going to be a hoot with them together. So, yes, so that's my tailor's hammer, which I consider to be an essential. Mum said you could make one yourself. But I like to support other businesses, you know. People support me. I'm not a business, but people support me. I want to support them. I want to support other people. So, and then, this is where the piggery bit comes in. I don't know what kicked it off, but I suddenly decided I wanted to do something with felt. I'd seen an image or something. I was looking on Pinterest, maybe. Oh, I know what it was. It was a little needle minders that Pedro's plaques do, which are gorgeous. She had a little one with a mushroom on. And all these ideas like leapt into my head, bearing in mind I'm not artistic at all. And I thought, I want to make some pin cushions. I want to work with felt, because felt, you know, you don't have to edge it unless you hem it, unless you want to do it for decorative purposes. So I started looking for something, and it said always use wool felt. You get a lot of cheaper acrylic felt, which will do in many instances, but if you want something to last and to look good for a longer time, then you really need to invest in some wool felt, and it isn't mega pricey. So I found this new website, new to me anyway, although I'm not a big fabric buyer yet, she says, and I bought these sets of felts. I bought this one, which has got white, different greens. I won't go to them all, but you can see some of them are marled, and then it goes through to like pinky beiges. Actually, the light's a lot better than when I did it earlier. And then there's a white, so there's that set there. And I can imagine like landscape, like little mini landscapes and things. And then this one, I can't decide which is my favourite out of these two sets. So you've got grey, you've got a charcoal grey, blues, look at that good sea green, absolutely beautiful. And this is Below Fabrics. I'll show you their card in a minute. There's your charcoal grey. And that's a grey as well. So I've ordered those two. I'll show you their Below Fabrics. Free postage on orders over £15. No, £15. And then I ordered some Essex linen, again in squares, in different colours. So I've got that's a white, that's what it's blowing out. There's an ivory, there's a pale green, different greens, bluey greens. You get the gist. And then finally, because I am a little piggy when it comes to buying things, and once I get an idea into my head, I want everything to do with it. I bought some Liberty squares as well. Isn't that beautiful? Might be upside down. How do you know? That's the right way up. Isn't that beautiful? And then I won't show you them all, but I'll show you. There's a green one. There's a Strawberry Thief, William Morris. There's what I consider to be a very classic Liberty print, and then there's a couple of very there's a couple of pale ones. There's a pink like that as well. So I've got a number of those, and I thought they were quite reasonably priced because you they do them in packs, so you can see what you're getting before you order. So I've got all these, and they sort of tone together quite nicely, and they're all sort of, you know, a nice colour palette. They look well together. I think they do anyway. So I'm really pleased with that order, and it came very quickly. And you know, when I made that top with the linen and the cotton mixed the other day, a few weeks ago, I've got some grey left over, some grey linen thread yarn, and I was going to make some like pin cushions with a crochet square on top. And I don't know, I'm going to make them for friends and presents and things. If I end up making too many, I might offer them for sale, but just like the wonky bags, the quality of my sewing will probably leave something to be desired. And I also bought a little packet of, I don't know why I'm showing you this because I'm not going to open it because it's all sealed. Some mother of pearl, they had in a sale, mother of pearl star buttons. My mum said, I've got loads of mother of pearl buttons. I said, good, because I'll have some of them as well. Richard's, I've got this, I'm going to save it as much as I can. Okay, sent his Tailor's having the most beautiful tissue paper, which I'll have about folding up nicely tomorrow. And then Emma Jones of Vintage Sewing Box, whose kit I've got in the cupboard, and I want to do EPP with some of this stuff as well. Spoke about a new to me yarn shop, fabric shop again, and she said that somebody had helped her source some fabric that she'd used some time ago. And I just wandered over and had a look, and I bought this. It's a fat quarter pack. Yes, I know, I've got that huge fat quarter pack, haven't I? What am I going to do with that? I don't know. But this is going to be for the summer. I'm going to use some of this for the summer mal to make the bags, because there's that one, which might be nice for the inside. There's a couple of checks that'd be nice for a contrast. And you can see stripe. And they do this. That'd be nice as a lining, actually, wouldn't it? That's what I don't know. I'm showing you like that, don't it? They're all Moda fabrics. And this is called, I have to look this up. It's called a blooming bunch, and this is the quilt. This is the pink version. They do pesto, custard. You have to go and have a look if you're interested. I'll leave a link down below. But I love the colours in this. Absolutely gorgeous. So yes, whoever wins the summer mal will be getting a bag in a combination of these colours. And I also bought, while I was on there, I don't know if to qualify for free postage, but I bought some, because I've got this idea of doing all these hexagons, because I bought the hexagon templates the other day, doing some quilting, you see, mini quilts. So I bought some quilting needles. Now, look at the size of my fingers compared to those needles. Now, I've got quite chummy fingers, not fat, but they're quite broad, and I think that's down to walking with sticks and things over the years, maybe. I've got quite square hands. How am I going to grip them? That's going to take some getting used to, isn't it? But I'll tell you what, I'm having a go. I took them inside there so I don't lose them. So yeah, and I think that is all my my acquisitions, and I think that's more than enough, you know. I've got everything I can possibly need to be getting on with. The only thing I was thinking of is a bit of lace trim, maybe to go with some of these here, you know, so you have like a mixed media sort of pin cushion or needle case or sewing kit, that type of thing. So yeah, I've got ideas, we'll see how far I get with them. I'm hopefully going to succeed. I'll have to stop knitting and do something else, you see, because there's sewing to do as well. Hello, it's me, I'm back again. I just want to show these beautiful stitch markers, come progress keepers, that Pip of Woolly Coochies has sent the podcast. Aren't they super? These little Oreo and Haribo and Gordon's gin. There's a pair of wise owls, some sheeps, and a beautiful blue bead with an owl on as well. Thank you very much, Pip. It's very kind of you, and I'll just show you Pip's label. That's her name on Instagram, if you're interested. Now, I'm not aware that Pip sells them, but, you know, if you fancy, I'm sure you might be able to bend her arm. But yes, thank you very much, Pip. It's a beautiful selection, and they will definitely be going into the male prizes. But I think I might be keeping one, and I think it might be the green one, because I think that's gorgeous. So thank you very much for the kind gift. Okay, back to the podcast. Since our last podcast, I haven't been out anywhere, not to visit anybody, apart from going to meet Penny in the pub last week. It was very hot. And then I've had a bit of a flare-up with my IBS. It's not horrible, but it reacts when I eat, so I have to be careful. I don't want to go anywhere at the moment. And I think that's partly the heat as well. I looked it up on Google to say, and they are related. You can get stomach issues if it's too hot. And I suppose if you've got a pre-existing condition, mine's been under control for years really, it doesn't, bother me very often. But yeah. So on Saturday I went to visit Mum and Dad, and I did. We had a look at my sewing, got inspected by Mama, and she gave it the all clear, told me what to do, sent me home with the last bit of homework to do on my gelato top, which I'll do at the weekend. And then on Monday of this week, we're now on Thursday, my in-laws came to visit us. We haven't seen them for, I hadn't seen them for about 18 months. I think it went Christmas of 2019. Tom did manage to get up and see them a couple of times last year when we were allowed to. So his mum and his sister came down, and they live in Stockport. So they came down. Unfortunately, my sister-in-law's car needed to go in the garage all of a sudden. So they got brought down, and then Tom took them back home yesterday. So he had quite a long journey on the motorway because it quite busy on the way up. And it took him 3 hours to get up and 2 hours to get back. And it just shows you what a difference the traffic makes. And then while he was at his mum's, he chopped down a tree for her. Because she was threatening to do it herself. She wasn't asking him to do it. She said, well, I'm going to do that tree. I've bought a saw. She bought the wrong sort of saw, really, to chop a tree down. But he thought, I'm not having my mum do that. She's 80 next year. Same age as my mum. They were within a month of each other. And you're not doing that, mother, So he came back a bit tired. So really, I've got no forthcoming plans. Mum and Dad are away, so I won't be seeing them this weekend, and I've got absolutely nothing on next week. Might see Penny and Maggie if they're around, but otherwise, I've got nothing on the radar at all. Plenty of time for crafting then, and I have read a book, but I can't remember what it was. I've read the first two. I've read The Snowdonia Killers and The Harlech Beach Killings, both by Simon McLeave. Oh yeah, and I've read, is it The Kingdom of the Blind by, I think I've got it the right way around, by Louise Penny. Because I thought I'd caught up with Louise Penny, but obviously I haven't. I've got 3 more to do. So I got that one out of the library. I've passed it on to Mum, she's got the next one out of the library, so and I've read that. I do love the Louise Penny books, you know, so, and it was another good one. There's only been one I wasn't keen on, but all the others I've thoroughly enjoyed, even if I sort of guess what's happening, you know. Sometimes when I read a crime book and I guess what's happening, I don't want to finish it. And that can happen after the first few pages if I think I know better than the author. Right, I'm waffling again. You take care, everybody. You know, and I will see you very, very, very soon. I'll let you know when the Ravelry video goes up, videos, and I'll speak to you hopefully in less than 2 weeks' time. Take care. Till a bit. Bye.